The gears of global geopolitics rarely stop turning, but sometimes they move with such force that history itself begins to shift. Saudi Arabia, one of the United States' strongest historical allies, and a key partner of former President Donald Trump, is now redrawing its power strategy in the Middle East. In a reversal that few could have predicted, the kingdom is sending mixed signals to the world: subtle criticism of the U.S., renewed cooperation with Iran, and above all, a stance that challenges former alignments. While Washington becomes entangled in global disputes and domestic turmoil, Saudi Arabia moves silently, but boldly, behind the scenes of international politics. What's behind this shift? What does this new closeness with Iran, long considered a threat, really mean? Today, on World Radar, we scan the truth behind this dramatic reversal. Why is Trump's top Arab ally now seemingly attacking and supporting Iran at the same time? What are the bold warnings Saudi Arabia is sending? And most importantly, what does all of this reveal about the future of the balance of power in the Middle East? Stay with us. The radar is on. The truth starts now. For decades, Saudi Arabia and the United States have maintained a solid, strategic, and often unbreakable alliance. The cornerstone of that relationship has always been oil. In exchange for a steady energy supply to the West, the Saudis received military and political support from Washington. It was a relationship of convenience, but also of power. Since the landmark 1945 meeting between King Abdulaziz and President Franklin D. Roosevelt, the interests of Riyadh and Washington have aligned. During the Cold War, Saudi Arabia acted as a buffer against the spread of communism. In the 1990s, they allowed the U.S. to station troops on Saudi soil during the Gulf War. But it was under Donald Trump in 2017 that the partnership became even more explicit. Trump was received with grandeur on his first presidential trip to Saudi Arabia, sealing over $100 billion in commercial and military deals. He strongly supported Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman in his internal reforms and regional moves, including the blockade on Qatar and the war in Yemen. The alliance seemed unshakable. Trump offered diplomatic cover, even after the assassination of journalist Jamal Khashoggi, while the Saudis secured oil stability and poured billions into U.S. investments. Their relationship was clear: business, power, and mutual benefit. But alliances built on interests can erode when the geopolitical landscape shifts. And that's exactly what began to happen. As the U.S. showed signs of stepping back from the region, Saudi Arabia began reassessing its position. The perception that Washington might no longer be a fully reliable ally led Riyadh to explore new directions. From that moment on, a slow but significant transformation began. And at the center of it stood the name that had long symbolized Saudi Arabia's biggest regional rival, Iran. What we're witnessing is not just a reconciliation between two historic enemies. It's a calculated move by Saudi Arabia, repositioning itself on the global chessboard as an independent power, capable of engaging with everyone, including former adversaries, without blindly depending on past alliances. The rapprochement with Iran, mediated by China, along with the kingdom's strategic distancing from U.S. military interests, shows that Saudi Arabia has learned an important lesson. In a multipolar, volatile world, flexibility equals power. And Saudi Arabia wants to remain relevant, not as a satellite of Washington, but as an influential force in its own right. The refusal to allow U.S. forces to launch potential attacks on Iran from bases in Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and Kuwait is not just a diplomatic gesture. It is a direct signal, almost a warning. Saudi Arabia will no longer serve as a passive stage for external agendas, and that fundamentally changes the rules of the game. Should Donald Trump return to power, he'll face a dramatically different Middle East than the one he left. The once loyal ally in the Gulf no longer follows orders without question, and Iran, once cornered and isolated, now has room to maneuver and possibly build a new narrative with its Arab neighbors. In this new scenario, one question looms: who truly leads the future of the Middle East? The United States, with its historical influence? China, with its quiet yet effective diplomacy? Or the regional powers themselves, finally stepping into a role long denied to them? Today, the radar picked up a bold warning from Riyadh, a signal that echoes far beyond the desert. Now the world must decide whether this is just a tactical shift or the beginning of a new geopolitical era. Thank you for staying with us. If you enjoyed this content, subscribe to the channel, activate the radar notification, and keep following our analysis. Because here on World Radar, we scan the truth behind the headlines. We'll see you on the next alert.